Hi everyone! Today I want to discuss an interesting case study I have with one of my dear patients. I'm going to call her Isabella to protect her real identity as she's only halfway through her pregnancy. Isabella came to see me after she'd been bleeding continuously for 2 months, and this was beginning to affect her mental health. She'd not been able to exercise regularly or do any of her usual activities because when she increased her exercise regime, it increased the bleeding. Sometimes the bleeding could be lighter, sometimes it could be spotting, but at any point she could begin a full flow again. Isabella's main issue was that she had recently become engaged, which was wonderful, and wanted to sort out her bleeding issues before her wedding, which was coming up in 6 months. She also wanted to lose weight. Isabella had a history of endometriosis, which was basically diagnosed when she was only 11 years old. She remembers her periods being long and heavy, and even at the beginning of high school, she can remember the bleeding that was going through the uniform. And now this was just awful and embarrassing for her. Around 15 years old, after a termination, the doctor put her on the pill, which helped her periods for a short time, but the birth control pill made her crazy. She had bouts of feeling down, she felt moody, and she had constant crying spells. When Isabella was 18, doctors put her on Implanon for a year, and after it was removed, her periods became even heavier. The bleeding and the pain became so bad she ended up at the emergency department at the hospital. And the doctor suggested inserting the hormonal IUD, the Mirena, as well as giving her an iron infusion because her ferritin stores were so low. This was literally the worst day of her life. She felt so sad, so defeated and broken. Now, the Mirena unfortunately did nothing but exacerbate her endometriosis symptoms. More pain, more chronic fatigue, cramping, depression. She had pain during intercourse and also gastrointestinal problems, IBS, and the brain fog. She literally felt like she was a walking zombie. It actually felt like the Mirena was trying to escape through her belly button, and that's how sharp and stabbing the pains were. Again, she ended up in the emergency department from the severe pain, and 6 months later had it removed. She vowed she would never have the Mirena again. She was told that the Mirena would stop her periods and help her endometriosis, but it simply exacerbated everything on every level. It just wasn't worth it. So after the Mirena was removed, her heavy bleeding came back with a vengeance. So they prescribed Primulot, which is used to treat irregular and painful and heavy periods, but even that didn't work. That's when Isabella came to see me. And her periods at that time were very painful. 10 out of 10. Heavy, she had clotting, and the clotting could range in size from like a rice grain to the size of her palm. And Isabella literally tried every type of contraception. Mirena, tranexamic acid, it's a medication to treat heavy bleeding. Implanon, all the contraceptive pills. And she also saw a naturopath. She did try acupuncture in the past, but that was about 3 or 4 years ago. And she also had a cyst on her right ovary, which was about 3 centimeters in size. Now, Isabella's diet was seriously bad. It was bad. She began the day with a coffee and a cigarette. And her first breakfast was usually an English muffin and another coffee. She also ate a lot of fried food, and her portion sizes were too large. So she also had a massive daily sugar craving for chocolate. Sadly, her mum also suffered with endometriosis, and in her situation, she had a hysterectomy, which is often a solution to women suffering with endometriosis. Isabella had 2 surgeries to excise the endometriosis, and this did nothing. She did notice some improvement after the surgeries, but after 6 to 12 months, all her symptoms came back, and she was just always felt like she was back at the beginning again. So the first step in our work together was to stop the bleeding by employing Chinese herbal medicine, and we did acupuncture. We have amazing points on the toes to stop bleeding. In 1 week of Isabella taking the herbs, having the acupuncture, and following a very strict diet, the bleeding stopped and her brain fog felt better. And this was fantastic for her. She just didn't understand how much her diet actually affected her condition. So once she started to see the benefits, she was happy to no longer eat gluten. She stopped eating dairy, drinking coffee, or feeding her sugar cravings, and instead started eating the estrogen clearing foods, supporting her liver, supporting her digestion by eating warm foods and incorporating an anti-inflammatory diet that just supported her hormones, and it just improved her overall blood flow and reduced some of that pain and inflammation that comes with endometriosis. And the best part, she gave up smoking, and so did her partner. She started to think there could be some hope, as nothing had worked in the past. But this time she made the changes. She addressed the things that were causing more pain and suffering, and she just began to feel well again. So over the course of the next 3 months, we changed her Chinese formula regularly during this time, and her clots completely disappeared, her flooding and spotting was resolved, and her overall stress levels improved. I actually got a text message from her saying, sorry, I haven't got back to you, but I'm actually feeling good for the first time in my life. My stomach has been feeling so much better, and I just can't believe how good I'm feeling. I'm actually going back to the gym. So this is what it's like to feel normal. Thank you. And the highlight of this case study, Isabella was a beautiful bride and is now 12 weeks pregnant. She quickly got pregnant after her wedding, which was an added bonus for Isabella and her husband.